You were not always a monster. Long before the village, before the experiments, before the bodies and the screams, you were just a mother. Your name is Miranda, and everything you became started with love. It happened more than 100 years ago. A sickness, a silent, invisible thing that took people one by one. You watched it spread through your village. You watched it take your neighbors, your friends, and then it took your daughter. Her name was Ava. You remember her voice, her laugh, the way she used to hold your hand. And then one day she was gone. You buried her yourself. Cold soil, cold hands, and a silence that never left you. Most people accept death. They grieve. They move on. You didn't. Because somewhere deep inside you, you refused to believe it was over. And you began searching. Not for comfort, not for closure, but for something impossible. A way to bring her back. That search led you beyond the village, into caves no one dared to enter, into darkness that felt alive. That's where you found it. A strange pulsating mass, organic, breathing, watching. The megamycete, you didn't understand it at first, but when you touched it, everything changed. Memories flooded your mind, not yours, other people's. Voices, faces, lives, all stored inside this organism. And then you realized something. Death wasn't the end. It preserved consciousness, stored it, like a memory that refused to fade. That's when the idea was born. Not grief, not madness, something far more dangerous, hope. If Eva's consciousness still existed, then death could be reversed. From that moment forward, your life had only one purpose. Bring your daughter back. Years passed, then decades, then more than a century. The megamycete changed you. It extended your life, strengthened your body, sharpened your mind. You were no longer human, but that didn't matter. You returned to the village, but not as a grieving mother, as something else. A god. You took control slowly, quietly. The villagers didn't understand you, but they feared you. And fear is the strongest form of control. You began your experiments, using the megamycete, using people. Most of them died. Their bodies rejected the transformation. Their minds broke. They became failures. Creatures of flesh and teeth. Monsters that wandered the fields and forests. But occasionally, you found something different. Subjects who adapted, who survived, who changed. From those rare successes, you created your four lords. Alcina Dimitrescu, elegant, proud, powerful. Her body adapted in a unique way, but she was flawed. Unstable, Donna Beneviento, fragile, broken. Her mind connected to the mold in ways you didn't fully understand. She saw things, created things. Salvatore Moreau, a failure, loyal but pathetic. His body barely held together. And then Karl Heisenberg, the most interesting of them all. Strong, intelligent, dangerous. He was the only one who truly understood what you were doing, and he hated you for it. But none of them mattered. Not really, they were tools, experiments. Steps toward one goal, Eva. For over a century, you searched for a perfect vessel, a body that could accept her consciousness, a body that wouldn't break. But every attempt ended the same way. Death, mutation, collapse, until you found something different. A child, Rose, daughter of Ethan Winters. When you learned about her, you knew immediate. This was it, the perfect vessel. So you set your plan in motion. You infiltrated their lives. You studied them. You waited. And when the time came, you replaced Mia perfectly, flawlessly. Ethan never noticed. That was your first mistake. because you underestimated him. The night everything began. Your plan moved forward. Chris Redfield arrived. Gunfire. Chaos. Blood. Exactly as you predicted. The child was taken, separated, prepared. Everything was going according to plan. But then Ethan survived, and he came to the village. At first you didn't care. He was just a man. Broken, desperate. But as he moved through the village, something became clear. He wasn't dying. No matter what you threw at him, he kept going. Through Dimitrescu's castle, through Beneviento's nightmare, through Moreau's decay. And even Heisenberg couldn't stop him. You watched it all. Through the Megamycete, through your control over the village. And for the first time in a long time, you felt something unfamiliar. Concern. Because Ethan Winters wasn't just surviving, he was adapting. Just like your experiments. Just like Eva. When you finally stood before him, you didn't see a man anymore. You saw a variable, something unexpected, something dangerous. But it didn't matter, because the ritual was ready. Rose would become Ava, and everything you had done, everything you had sacrificed. The ceremony began. The Megamycete responded. Energy filled the air, and then it failed. Rose's body began to destabilize, break apart, reject the process. Not again. That's when you understood. Ethan had changed things. His presence, his connection to the mold, it disrupted everything. And in that moment, everything you built began to collapse. So you did what you had always done. You adapted. You embraced the full power of the Megamycete. Let it consume you, transform you. Your body changed, expanded, became something beyond human comprehension. Wings of flesh, claws. You were no longer Miranda. You were something else. Something that refused to lose again. You attacked him with everything you had. But Ethan didn't run. He stood his ground. And for the first time, you felt it. Fear, not for yourself, but for your dream. Because deep down, you realized something. He wasn't fighting to win, he was fighting to protect. The battle ended the only way it could, with loss. Your body weakened. The Megamycete destabilized. Your power faded. And as you fell, you saw her. Ava, not as a memory, not as a memory. Not as a vision, but as she once was, reaching out to you. For a moment, everything was quiet. No experiments, no pain, no monsters. And then, she was gone. Just a mother and her daughter. Your name is Miranda. You spent a century trying to defy death, trying to bring back what you lost. But in the end, you became the very thing you once feared. A monster created by grief. And the cruelest truth of all, you were so close, just one step away from bringing her back. And yet, you lost everything again.